Okay, people, I'm back again. And what do I have? What do I have? I have a continuation of The Wheel of Time. Look at that. It's very pretty, this book. It's not any good, but it's pretty. Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, what's the ranking? Ranking's a 2, right? This one has sort of the same problems the other one had, just in a continuing form, right? But if you're a die-hard fan, if you just need some fantasy, give it a go, I guess. I mean, it won't kill you. It might kill you. It won't kill you. It's just annoying. You could skip it if you've never read it, obviously. That's what a 2 means. Cost, I think I got the first 3, which are all about yay big, for 20 bucks. They come in sets, right? So the first 3 are 20. I'm assuming the next 3, if you want them all new, another 20, 20, 20. So it could be a pretty penny before you're done because there's like 15 in the series. I think I made it to book 3 right now. I mean 4. I made it to book 4. But I'm going to review it. I'm going to discuss it as we do here. All right, so I'm going to spoil all the crap out of it if you wanted to go read it on that glowing recommendation. Go ahead and go read it. I wouldn't. This one picks up right where the last one left off, right? So we have our boy Rand training with the Blade Master. What's his name? Lin? The Warder? Lan. Not Lin. Lan. Major difference. Worlds of difference. And it's I know why he's doing it, right? You could feel it. You could feel it as you're reading why he's doing this. It's because he's going to have this guy split up and start doing like heroic sword stuff. But he already established that he's a idiot farm boy, so he can't go from farm boy to just like sword master. That's why this sort of scene is in here. And it's annoying. Again, a lot of the problems with this book and the last one, which is book 1, is rather than, well, I'm not going to say he didn't put the work in. I'm going to say he gets excited, right? He got excited. He has this great idea, and it is a great idea. The whole mythos, the world building, is a tremendous idea. He gets excited and wants to run with the ball too soon, right? You have to lay the bricks appropriately, or you won't have a castle. So rather than, let's say, scrap what he's done, go back, fix it in a way it needs to be, he just tries to retcon as he goes. Right? So that's why we're getting this training now. You could feel it instantly. He's going to have this training and he's going to be off on his own in a minute. You could feel it. And I knew it was coming, and it's annoying. But in the midst of this annoyance is what keeps you going in this book. It's the glittering jewel, right? In the weeds here. He gives this talk, Lan gives this talk about blades, because our boy has a heron marked blade, makes a big point about it all the time. Father gave it to him. Right? Again, like if your father is a soldier, he could have just taught you to fight, which would have been more natural. But he didn't, so you're a dopey farm boy. Try not to be annoyed. He gives these histories of these blades, right? Now he talks about some swords that were made with the one power, imbued with it, and can be like devastating weapons, right? Like I can cleave a mountain in half or something like this. They're just wicked strong weapons. And I'm like, that sounds incredible. Again, throughout we talk of the Age of Legends. I wish we'd have started there. I wish we'd have started at the Age of Legends, giving me the destruction of the world, and then give me Rand, it'll all fit a lot better. But then he goes to the Heron Mark blades, which are like forged by the Aes Sedai. So they're not imbued with the one power, but a lot of them have edges that don't need to be sharpened. They won't ever break. This sort of thing, right? So he has this legendary blade, but he's a dopey farm boy and doesn't deserve it. Then we're at an outpost, Faldara. Faldara. It's sort of like an outpost. It's the first like bulwark against the blight. And to this outpost comes our Amyrlin Seat. This is the head of all the Aes Sedai, the head wizardress of all the wizardresses is, right? And here, I don't like it again. I know why he does it. Actually, I don't know why he does it. Again, he's an eager beaver, right? This Aes Sedai, there's a lot of politics that go around in the Aes Sedai amongst themselves. He wanted to get to it very quickly, but he couldn't get the characters there fast, right? I guess in his head. He had the idea, I want to talk about this politics. I don't know how, other than bringing her here. Well, bringing her there, it like diminishes her, right? The King of England going someplace, the Duke of Milan going someplace. He has to go there for a reason. He can't go there without an entourage, and stuff's going to change once he's there. I could make war with Sweden if I'm the King of Milan, just on the interactions we have at dinner, right? And I know this isn't like our history. It's a history. It has its own. But it's still the effect is the same, right? So you build up, like, without any history. I'm building up the Amyrlin Seat as a major thing. And then I have her show up unannounced, which I guess if in-world's not a problem, then why are characters in-world complaining that she came without me able to do deference, right? The guy who runs Faldara is like, she should have told me she's coming. I would have prepared a feast. I would have had heralds, this sort of thing to honor her, right? So you can't have one and the other. He tries to have one and then do the other. Act like a lord, get treated by like serfs, and then act like a dopey idiot. He tries to mix and match them in ways that do not work. And this is what happens with the Amyrlin Seat, because she shows up for no real reason, right? She's saying that she wanted to talk to Moraine. But I'm like, why? Right? Because you go, they say that they're using the one power to push wind in the sails and to move the tides of rivers to get there as fast as possible, so that behind them is a wake of destruction. The rivers, when they recede, are flooding, the weather's gone to crap, crops are lost, all because you got to go from where you are way over here to this outpost. I'm like, well, why? If you'd have come and said, I'm taking the dragon with me, Rand, that'd have made sense, right? But they get there, and then they're all secretive. Like, we have a secret mission to help the dragon rather than gentle him, which is what the Reds want to do. Introduce all the politics, blah, blah, blah. But the root is, she was worried. I haven't had any messages from you. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, bro, you're at the big seat. You just keep going like the plan's still enacted, and when you get caught up, you'll be caught up, right? The king doesn't need to know every little battle. You just know that the war's going. If there's something that's made a fork in the road and the war's going to be different from now, right? Like, I lost 100,000 guys. You got to come talk to the king then, but not every little thing. And if you're trying to be incognitos, moving heaven and earth to get there at a breakneck speed isn't going to do that, right? So it annoys me, but it's there. And they try then to eat their cake as well. He does. Our boy Jordan, Robert Jordan, tries to eat his cake and have it too. Because in the one instance, you're there for petty reasons, and then the next instance, Everyone should be just afraid of you and respect you. We can make it work. It's just annoying, right? And it doesn't lay good foundations. And then in the midst of this, like I said, they just changed Rand's clothes to like embroidered stuff. So now all of a sudden everyone acts like he's a lord. And at first you're like, I guess this is a funny joke, but we're going to carry this as an arc through the rest of this book. Very stupid. You could have just made him a lord. Like, I get that the Two Rivers is a countrified place, right? But if it has a border, you can be lord of it, and people have to respect you. That's what you could be a lord of a place if you're a landowner, right? So you just say I'm a landowner from this far off province. They can think I'm country or not, but I'm coming with some slick clothes. They'll respect me, right? Look up Orkney Island. Look up Orkney Island. Lord of Orkney has had an effect in England, even up to like World War II. World War, I think, 1 and 2, right? Winston Churchill was messing with the Lord of Orkney for reasons, right? He was in government. This is a tiny little island in the middle of nowhere. I bet they got some sheep. It doesn't matter. He's the Lord of Orkney, right? So you could have just made Rand a lord, right? It's like, are you a farmer? Yeah. You own land? Yeah, I'm a farmer. Makes you a lord of the Two Rivers. So we're not going to say the Two Rivers. We're going to say Lord of Manetheren. Not king, a lord of Manetheren. See, easy. It would have easily solved all these problems, and then he would have pretended to act the part instead of he acts like he's in high school. He acts like he's in high school. He's like, no, I can't take any of these honors. I'm feeling embarrassed. It's so stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid, and I hate it. Right? But this is how we're going to play it. He's running around like, I don't want the Amerlin seat to find me. I'm like, Heifer, if you didn't want the Amerlin seat to find you, you should have left like a week ago, like you said you were going to do. Doesn't leave. Just sits there, running around like a chicken without a head. Then instead, I'm like, okay, I'm going to find a place to hide. I'm going to hide with the ladies. But before I do that, let me go down and see Fane, the evil dark friend who almost brought ruination on all of us. Let me just look at him and I'm like, why? Just go to your room, bro. Nah, I'm not going to go to my room. It causes an issue. Obviously. It's clearly for the plot, clearly to just move it all along, right? Like, I'm going to muddle through this bit to get to here. That's what he's trying to do, right? He just muddles through, gets to her. And it sounds like I'm being harsh. This is the honest truth about it. And I'm only being harsh because the other parts are so good. That means you're a good writer. All it would have taken is time to get this done right. Now, I get you have a good idea, and you're just an eager beaver. But you gotta slow down sometimes, bro. Right? You gotta slow down. Their plan. Plan 20 years in the making. This is the best they could do. Okay, I guess they have a decent reason for it. I guess. I don't know. They were going to get the Dragon Reborn, bring him to the White Tower, and then train him up as best they could to use the One Power to then fight the Dark One. So Moraine's tracking him out, finds him, finds out he's Ta'veren. Means the whole fabric of everything changes around him. He runs left, that means these things happen. If he runs right, that means that stuff happens. So she sort of then sees, some of this is out of my hands. So rather than bring him back like they were gonna, which I don't see a problem with it, right? Where she seemed to think he would buck, he would like, I won't take it. And because he's so Ta'veren, it'll just bend around him, right? I guess that's a valid excuse. But then her other plan is, I need the Dragon Reborn to proclaim himself in this certain city with this certain banner and this legendary horn. Legendary banner, legendary horn. The horn, I think, calls the greatest warriors back from the dead. Right? So, I'm going to give all these to my boy Idiot Rand and trounce him across the country to hand deliver them to this place. Sort of tricking him that, you know, it's a thing you got to do, right? But before we can do this, old Fan gets out, steals the horn, and runs off. The dagger with it. Matt's dagger being maybe more powerful than anyone guesses, right? Like, even evil's supposed to be afraid of this dagger. It turns evil stuff evil, right? So he has like 2 nuclear weapons, and he's just going to run off with them. And so they're like, well, you got to follow or you go off on your own. And of course he's going to follow. So they're trouncing half the country. That's, I don't know. What do we say? A third of the book, right? Half the book more? It's half the book is just him trouncing around. Side note. Padan Fain starts as just a dark friend. And throughout the course of this book, he turns into like Sauron. You know, the head evil guy right below the dark one. All right, here's the dark one, here's Sauron. That turns into Padan Fain. Somehow he's running like 9 different shows all of a sudden. Right? He's wicked slick. He can rule Trollocs. He's getting other dark friends killed. I'm like, well, when did he upgrade? Right? There's nothing in the book that shows me how this man upgraded. Nothing at all. And another thing, book in the earlier books, because they pair right next to each other. They pair right next to each other. In the last book, Trollocs were sent across the world through the ways just to attack this village, and the chance one of these 3 is the Dragon Reborn, right? But then in this book, we kind of stop that. All of a sudden, everything's Padan Fain. We're not using Trollocs. We're not having these mass armies of them. We can just roam around the countryside fairly safe now because, I don't know, Trollocs can't use the waypoints all of a sudden? Why would you stop using Trollocs in mass quantities? I mean, if you had done it at one point, and if you're doing enough to send fades and horrible things into these heavily fortified areas, why would you quit all of a sudden, right? There's nothing in the book that explains it, other than I think I like Padan Fain better than the Dark One all the time. There's nothing that explains it. Horrible storytelling. Absolutely horrible. We have in this also a moment between Nynaeve and Lan. They got a little romance going, right? That romance is done very well. Again, which makes you annoyed at the other childish CW parts. The love story between them is done very well. Very like we want to be together but we can't. You know, always great for love stories. They have to have this long roundabout journey before they meet back, right? We know it's coming, hopefully. If one of them dies, I'm going to be upset. I want my love story finished. Right? So the group sets out. The group being Matt Perrin, his boys, Loyal, the Augir, like a nice horse minotaur looking thing, right? Very tall, very strong. And a group of soldiers, right? And I think Moraine's plan is just for like, I'm going to throw the dice and they're always going to come up snake eyes, so I'll win. Right? Doesn't matter where I really send them, it'll work out. Which half works, but then we don't follow it through. We get real nervous about what ends up happening to this idiot. So we're just trouncing along the countryside, basically. Our ladies get on a boat to sail back to the White Tower. So I'm like, at least they're doing their job. I don't like their setup either. They're getting like personalized training from the Amerlin seat. Again, you would go to a school, you would send an apprentice or something. The main person in charge has got stuff to do. They're effing busy, right? I don't need the the King of England to teach me how to fence, right? I go to a fencing master or something. He's got heads of state are busy. Even out in the country, she's getting letters and stuff, running her town. Running a city's a big deal. So it didn't make any sense. But again, he needs to, you could tell. You could tell reading it. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I knew something was going to happen. They're going to need their wizard powers more than they have. And I haven't trained them as an author, so I got to find a way to speed that crap up. So I'm going to get them. If they're trained from the Amerlin seat, they'll just pick it up real quick. Right? That's the angle we're going with. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So my boy Rand's out there with a soldier named Ingtar. He's a full-on soldier. Everyone trusts him. But he was told, if something happens to him, hand the reins off to Rand. I'm like, why? Why would I hand the reins of a military unit, even as small as 15, to an idiot farm boy? He's an idiot. It doesn't make any sense. It's so annoying. Because he doesn't grab the ball and run, right? Like if he were trained to fight as a farm boy and respected in town, right? Then he could say, well, I'm a little odd about this. I don't think I'm worthy. But if you're giving me the responsibility, I'll see to these people's lives, right? Because as a farmer, at least, when the wolves come or when the frost hits, people look to me to do stuff. Now, when I was young, it was, get certain herbs to people through snowstorms, right? It's a big deal in my town. So the big dealness of it equals out, right? Those are how you earn your stripes. Little battles train commanders to make big battles, You don't just start, I'm like, well, you're now the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. I'm like, I've never even played football, bro. I don't know how to be, a quarterback would do better. He's at least tells people what to do, shouts. No. I shouldn't be in charge. I'm just a farm boy. He acts like a child. So annoying. In any case, we decide to sleep in this spot. Right? This looks like a cleared out spot. Looks nice. I'm on the way. Me and the Ogier and Hurin sleep in this spot. When we wake up, we're in a different dimension. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, everything looks sort of normal, empty, different dimension. So where we're like a mirror universe kind of, right? So everyone's here, and we got to go this way, right? It kind of works like the ways, this like a magical teleportation kind of, but it was unnecessary. And in here, he meets this lady. What's her name? Oh, what's her name? Celine. I think her name's Celine, right? Very tall, attractive lady. Not as tall as a boy Rand. Always makes a point of this. But very tall and elegant and horribly, devastatingly attractive. Wearing all white, right? And the moment I'm seeing her, I'm like, we're in an alternate dimension. Why would I expect to see anyone here? I already don't trust her. He's like, it's fine. She's pretty. He's just like, it's fine. She's really pretty. And he just brings her in the group. And the whole time she's acting shady as all get out. Right? Like she's treating him like, well, you're a man. Go do this. You'll be fine. Your greatness is in you. Go do this manly thing. Well, just shoot him in the face. You're a great man. You will be. Otherwise, Are you? And he goes like, are you an Aes Sedai? And she's like, ugh. Not an Aes Sedai. Those suck. Why do you say that? But nothing clicks in my boy's head. Just empty. My boy's empty inside. Just an idiot. So somehow, again, we're going to just throw the chips at Ta'Veren, right? It all works out for him. He has the Hurin guy who can track by smell. Even across dimensions, you can smell the evil. So they take the pants. They're fighting sort of monsters in there, but they're not that big a deal. And they end around. Thane. Come out on a different portal because he uses his power along with our Celine lady, I think. Now he's back in the real world. and he catches Pat and Fane and like a group of Trollocs, like 45 of them, sleeping. So he sneaks in and takes the chest, right? But he can't carry it. Ogier carries it because it's strong, and he starts running, but they get caught, right? So you're like, oh, we got a sword fight. Ah, but I got that training, right? I can't just say he's good at fighting right now. I can't just say he drew on the one power and it helped him in some kind of way. You know what I got to do if I'm this author? He uses things called, oh my God, what's it called? Cat on hot sand. Hummingbird kisses the honey rose. And I'm assuming this is like cat on hot sand and you hit the pose, right? With your sword and it blocks like wax on, wax off crap, right? From Karate Kid. You doing all this dumb sword. Oh, I hate this crap. And he does it continually. From now on, we get this dumb cat on hot sand stances, naming these stances, and he can just dance his way through a fight of all these Trollocs. He just kills like 12 of them. Easy. Thank God I know these stances. I'm like, bro, that's not how fighting works. It's not how martial arts work. That's not how sword fighting works. Not anywhere. Like, you know why you don't name this crap? Because it takes too long to learn the names. Right? You're teaching 12-year-olds to get that stick. Now, when I hit you like this, you block it. Right? You blocked wrong. I hit you in the ribs. Like, why'd you hit me in the ribs? I'm like, you blocked like this, which is stupid because I'll hit you in the ribs. What are you supposed to do? Block like that. So you can go like that. The kid learns real freaking fast. But I don't say cat on a hot tin roof to know to block like this, right? Oh, I hate it so much. It's throughout this book, too. It's so stupid. Okay, so we cut from that. We intercut that with Perrin and Matt hanging out with our Ingtar guy, who's just like, I don't know where the other guys went. I'm gonna track them on my own. I gotta get the horn, right? It's a major deal. They just sort of end up tracking them, right? So we just take time to deal with that. A good chunk of time too. A good chunk of time. Just a side note on the name, right? The Great Hunt. Because this is another annoyance I have. It's a cool idea. The Great Hunt in lore is like the search for the Holy Grail or something. Every so often, groups of young men will ride out heroically to be on the hunt for the horn of Valeri. And on the way, they'll do heroic things. And sometimes they don't catch the horn because it's been in this fort the whole time and no one knows. Sometimes they don't catch the horn, but they end up in heroic battles, right? And they set right wrongs that are done in Earth, right? That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Instead, I get this CW level high school hunt for the horn, people falling all over each other goofiness, right? So I got the cheesiest, dopiest hunt for the horn of Valeri in all the history. Give me the Age of Legends where the horn has been made. Give me one of these other hunts where, a fort was taken and had to be recaptured or defended from Trolloc. Give me something fun, right? Give me heroic. I don't need this goofy idiot, trouncing all over creation. So you think, right? So our boys Matt and Perrin are following. Fane is making a path of destruction. He has the horn now. He's making it to a city, right? So that's what's happening there. Our girls at the White Tower are just training, right? Scrubbing pots, all this kind of thing. They're training. They meet, what's her name? Eleni? Eliani? I don't know how you say it. I'm going to say Eliani because it sounds cooler. And a Min, right? Now, Eliani, princess, already kind of in love with Rand, right? Because, I mean, what is it? What are those Japanese? Is it isekai? I don't know what the name is. Where there's like the harem animes, right? That's what it kind of reminded me of. Where randomly, normal guy has like 50 hot ladies who like him. This is this is what it kind of reminds me of. I don't think it was intentional that he did it this way. Ah, so silly. So he gets to a town, and what they have is called, what is it called? Oh, what is it called? I wrote it down. Where did I write it? Deus Damar, or the Great Game, the Game of Houses. It's another thing he wanted to rush to. It's where everyone in this town is so like into politics that everything becomes part of the big game, right? Where a new guy in town, I think so and so brings him for some reason that's going to usurp my wheat holdings. So I'm going to get to him first, get that information out of him, and then counteract my opponent, right? Counterplay and counterplay, this kind of thing. So Rand just showing up in nice clothes, they think he's some sort of lord from something, and they start the game around him. And I'm like, I don't care about the game. And I'm like, I'm with you, bro. Does he just stay in his room and wait for his Ingtar and like 30 soldiers to catch up to him because they know he's going to come to this town? Does he just stay there? I'm going to wander around, get involved, and look at stuff because I have, no reason whatsoever I need to wander, but he's going to wander. And I'm like, oh, so stupid. He ends up, on a good note, finding Thom. I think that's how you say his name. Thom Merrilin. I love this character. They said that he was dead. I'm glad that he's back. He knows all about the game, right? But there's a great interaction when he's back to life. Almost like when Gandalf comes back to life, right? It's a great time to be alive. I love him. He just has the limp. Somehow he fought a fade and now just has a limp. Right? Anyways, we're out trouncing around with town, and then I see these dark fiends and these Trollocs, and then I start worrying about, of course, the Horn of Valeri that I left in the effing hotel room with one guard. Right? You know what happens next. It eventually gets taken. Oh, you're so stupid. Bro, you could have stayed. I'd have sat on the chest with my sword, my Heron Blade sword, and my cat on hot tin roof stances, and fought off anyone who comes. I'd have sat on the thing. He doesn't sit on it. So it's now lost. Cut to our girls. And they have this growing, impending rumor of what they call Dark Ajah, which are evil Aes Sedai. This has been building for a few chapters, and we come back to them, and someone comes to them with a message. Oh, your boy Rand's in trouble. You got to come quick. And I'm sitting here saying what you're saying, and what we both said to Rand 5 minutes ago. Just stay in your room. Do they stay in their room? No. Egwene, Nynaeve, Eliani, and Min all can't leave their boy Rand. They all go with this Ajah. What's her name? Liandrin. They all go with her. She's an Aes Sedai. We can trust her. They go through the ways, I think, real quick. Come out some other place. Promptly are captured. Almost instantaneously. Nynaeve gets away. She shoots people with fireballs, but the rest of them are captured. And that's when we're sort of introduced to a rumor that's been building throughout the book. The Sinchan. Right? Absolutely fascinating, these characters. I'm like, and it makes you mad. If the book just sucked, I'd just make fun of that it sucks and walk away with my life. I'm not reading book 2 because book 1 was great. I'm reading book 2 because book 1 had such great lore. And I read book 3 because of what book 2 establishes with the Sinchan, right? These characters come from across the sea. Now, from what we, sort of gathered, they're from across the sea. They're asking oaths out of people. They get Aes Sedai on a leash, make them work as like slave, magical wizard slave labor. It's very vicious on their part. They can't do anything. Our girls get caught, chained with magical chains. If they have to think of attacking their handlers, it just like shocks them, right? If they try and like tip a pot, right? How would you accidentally trip someone without thinking about it? Because that's what they're trying to have. That's the position they're in, and they're told like, look, you're never getting that chain off. You have magical powers. This is what we do with people with magical powers. And I'm sitting there like, what does their whole land look like if Aes Sedai for them are just tools of war, right? Because that's what they are. They come in on these boats, they shot up this captain like with fireballs or water ball explosions to make them stop, and they just extract oaths out of people. They're to ride huge like lizard things. They're just storming town after town. It's incredible. Our Padden Fane gets caught by them, horn and all, right? And the guy, he acts very aristocratic, right? Sitting in some robes. He got half naked people serving him food, but he's like disinterested. It's not like half naked to ogle. It's like half naked because I want to see artistic stuff all the time. It's that kind of level. He's at like this top level. He's just sitting there. He grabs the horn of Valar, and he knows exactly what it is, right? They say he's 12th in line to be to the throne. 12th in line. And he's not going to blow on the horn because they'll bind those troops to him. And he doesn't want the emperor, the empress, to think he did that as a plot to get the... And I'm like, so a magical horn from the Age of Legends that gives you undead soldiers, you won't do because the empress will take you out? I'm like, how hard does the empress go? Right? I'm like, oh, there's so much here. Fane is like going to work the system, right? He's not worried about it. But the horn's in their custody, along with he's just collecting on a shelf all these artifacts, and he's looking at this backwater area, which is the whole world we've known so far. It's just backwater area for him to grab these artifacts, grab whatever he else he thinks is valuable, some of these Aes Sedai included, just go back home and report home how it looks, and take these as gifts so that the Empress likes them more. And I'm like, she sounds like the real deal. I'd rather have listened to anything about her rather than reading about this dopey idiot trouncing across creation. Right? So, of course, it all got to come to a head. And I'm talking, we get Sin-Chan and a massive battle where Mat blows the horn and Rand uses the one power to fight an army of Sin-Chan, right? Aes Sedai blasting people. He's got to free the ladies. All of this needs to happen, and I swear it happens in like this much space. This book, this amount, is us rolling around talking about the game of houses, talking about running around like a chicken without our head, not wanting, I can't go over there. I don't want to be the dragon. Just angst, just tween dumb angst. Book's right here. I'm so annoyed. But it's such a great end. Such a great end for a dopey book. That's why I give it a 2. All right. I'm going to do the ad portion now. Been a crazy week. Like 10,000. It's like 10,000 games going on right now. And I got to watch them all because I love them. It's putting a hamper on my reading, but I'll get through it. It really is a big fat dopey book. You don't need to read it at all. If you're inclined to skip it, just skip it. Or just find the chapters that say Sin-Chan and read that crap. They're really an interesting race of people. I'm very interested to learn more. Right? Alright, it's an ad portion, so I should say for y'all to go buy my book, right? I should actually say it rather than just putting the pictures up. What if some of you were just listening? Right? Did I ever think of that? Well, I'm thinking about it now. Go buy my books. You'll like them. I think they're better than this one. Certainly. Okay. Good looking out.